Ruben Abati, please proceed.
Arise News presents Presidential Town Hall Series. I'm Ruben Abati. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this event titled The Road to 2023, an Arise News Presidential Town Hall Series in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development. It's less than 100 days to Nigeria's elections in 2023. The campaigns have started. The candidates are on the campaign trail. The stakes are high. Expectations are even higher as Nigerians look forward to an election that promises to be a defining moment for the country. Because the candidate that will be sworn in on May 29, 2023 will be taking over the leadership of a country that is pulled in different directions by multiple pressures: security, the economy, the social sector, and genuine fears about electoral violence. As the elections draw nearer, Arise News Channel, in conjunction with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, presents a series of town hall meetings to provide an opportunity for the presidential candidates to share their views, articulate their vision and agenda, and interact across all platforms with the electorate and the international community. Some of our other partners today include Premium Times, the Nigerian Guild of Editors, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Daily Trust newspapers, the Guardian newspapers, Leadership newspapers, and the cable newspapers. Arise News presents today the first in the Town Hall series, focusing on security and the economy. Joining us on the program today are as follows: Dr. Mr. Rabiu Kwankwanso, candidate of the All Nigeria People's Party. Candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party. I beg your pardon. New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. My apologies. Mr. Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party. And Mr. Kola Abiola, presidential candidate of the PRP, People's Redemption Party. Okay, also to join us on this program, who is on his way from Morocco, is Waziri Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. But in the meantime, while we're still expecting his arrival, we have his running mate, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, the governor of Delta State, standing in for him. But we want to assure you that as soon as Waziri Atiku Abubakar is able to make it into this hall, then of course he will take the seat. We have very able panelists who are going to be part of this program. We already have in the hall Dr. Jibril Ibrahim of the Center for Democracy and Development. And also joining us from Lagos will be Mr. Bismarck Rewani. Please note, this is a town hall meeting, not a debate. Accordingly, there shall be no rebuttals by the candidates. The emphasis is to give the candidates a forum to project their policy priorities, proposals, and connect with the people while promoting the objective of participatory democracy in an interactive manner. And the rules are as follows. There shall be no clapping from this point onwards. No clapping, no cheers, no jeers from the hall. Participants are enjoined to appeal to their supporters attending this town hall accordingly. When a particular candidate takes the floor, there must be no interruption by any of the other candidates. There is a timekeeper We will first give a warning bell sign, 30 seconds, to the end of the time allotted to each speaker, and then a final call as required. Our digital partners, Premium Times, have been given the responsibility to counter any inaccurate information presented by the presidential aspirants with facts and figures. And they are well represented here. That fact-check team is led by a gentleman called Taiwo Azan Adebayo, Head of Investigations and Data with Premium Times. And at the end of each half of the program, he will present his findings, and the candidates will have the opportunity to respond. There shall be a group photograph of the presidential candidates, an exchange of pleasantries at the end of the program. We've now come to the formal beginning of this program, but first we would like to invite the candidates to give their opening remarks, and in that regard, each candidate has just 5 minutes. Remember, the timekeeper has been given very strict instructions to be very strict. May I now, on that note, first invite the candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso, to take the floor. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso, the presidential candidate of the NNPP. Let me take this opportunity, these 5 minutes, to introduce myself to you. I was born in Kwankwanso, Modobu local government of Kano State. I had my primary education, or I started my education from Kwankwanso Primary School, finished in Gwarzabodin Primary School, then Craft School Udil, Kano Technical College, Kaduna Polytechnic, where I had my OND and HND. Then in 1981, when I finished my service, I left this country for the UK, where I attended various courses in various institutions and universities. I was in Middlesex Polytechnic. I was in Loughborough University of Science and Technology. I was in Nottingham University, where I had my master's. And after my technical education, I joined RECA. I started in 1975. I rose from an artisan, craftsman, technical officer, then engineer, and I left service in 1991 as a principal water engineer. Technical officer. I then joined politics. In 1992, I was member of the House and elected Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps in 1992. I was an elected delegate to the Constitutional Conference in 1994 to 95. I was Governor of Kano State, 1999 to 2003. I was Minister of Defense, then advisor to President on Darfur and Somalia. In 2003 to 2007, 2007, I was appointed a representative of the Northwest geopolitical zone in the NDDC, where I left. I resigned because of the negative activities in the NDDC then. And 2011, I contested election again and went back to Kano for my second term. In 2015, contested election as a senator representing Kano Central. and of course left the Senate in 2019. In between, I contested in 2015 this same position, presidential position. I lost to President Buhari in Lagos, came second. 2019, I contested with other PDP candidates. I lost to Atiku Abubakar. And of course, I contested election in these 30 years, 92 to date, 18 times, won 15 and lost 3. One sitting governor in 2003, and of course, one in Lagos and one in Port Harcourt. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I had many other opportunities of forming political parties, associations, and so on and so forth. I believe I still have 1 minute.
30 seconds.
1 more minute.
30 seconds.
Okay. I think this is just for introduction. I think this is where I will stop. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party. Next, I would like to invite the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. You have 5 minutes.
Your Excellencies and all distinguished people that are gathered here, following on the footsteps of the first speaker, my name is Mr. Peter Obi. Born in Nigeria, educated at Christ the King College, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and subsequently have had the privilege of having very extensive trainings overseas, from London School of Economics to Harvard Graduate School, to Kellogg, to Columbia, Oxford University, Cambridge, IMD in Switzerland. I'm a businessman, I'm a trader. Very successful trader. We have managed corporations locally and established a successful business in United Kingdom that is of note today. I lived there for 10 years. From there, I chaired companies in Nigeria, served in about 8 quoted companies, different companies, out of which I chaired about 3 of them in Nigeria. Became a governor of my state, served for 8 years. I've had some remarkable things that happened in my transition into politics. I was the first governor to be declared through the courts, because when I contested the election, somebody else was declared, and I went to court and challenged it, and for 3 years I was declared. 6 months into being governor, I was impeached. I went to court again and challenged the rascality, and I became the second person to come back in this country as the governor from impeachment. And 5 months after that, my tenure again was terminated by an election that was not supposed to exist. And I went back to court and established the tenure of governor, which is what every governor which has disrupted a Nigerian election to date. Without me, the likes of Shomole, Fayemi, Oriboshala, all these will be governors. It was my challenge of that rascality that made it possible for them to go to court afterwards. While as governor, I served as advisor to the president of Nigerian Finance. President Goodluck Jonathan was a member of his economic management team and was the chairman of SEC thereafter. Since after that, I've been involved. In 2019, I was vice presidential candidate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Today, I'm contesting Labour. I believe that 2023 is a critical and a crucial year for Nigeria. The government that will be coming in will be faced with the undaunting task of bringing back Nigeria and repositioning it, because it breaks of so many daunting situations that requires immediate attention. My commitment is to ensure that we bring a government that will redirect, empower, and govern Nigeria in the way governance is expected all over the world. And that is my commitment. So I thank you for the opportunity of this introduction.
No clapping, no cheers. Please, complete silence in the hall. Let me now invite Mr. Kola Abiola, presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party, PRP.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates, presidential candidates here today, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abdul Latif Kolawole Abiola. I am a Nigerian of very humble beginnings. I have equally been humbled by events in my life to date. And I have been not just humbled by that, but I've learned a thing or two in that process. I stand here today as a true Nigerian, one that has employed Nigerians and been part of a group that has employed Nigerians in every state of Nigeria. I also stand here as testimony to what it takes to fight and die for Nigeria. My loyalty, our loyalty to Nigeria is why we are all seated here today. Furthermore, we have a history of giving the young an opportunity to grow. Over the years, we set up establishments. We've put in very young greenhorns. And guess what? Today, a lot of them are here today leading a lot of and doing a lot of good things. Our anchor person is one of them, the Duke, everybody, mostly in the in journalism today, well, because we gave a very young bunch of people an opportunity to be themselves and grow. Furthermore, I represent the People's Redemption Party. PRP is a party, it's the oldest party in this country to date. We've had from that stable people like my Honorable Excellency, Kwakwanzo from Kano, is also a ex-PDP person, sorry, ex-PRP, sorry. And we represent ideals. At PRP, we've lived by those ideals for the past 50 years. We believe in the power of the people. We believe the power belongs to the people, and you are elected to serve the people. We've always we go by example from the late Aminu Kano, for example. We've also been progressives all the way. We've come across, we're the first to build bridges across this country politically. We were also the first in 1979 to have a female running mate as a candidate was the late Malam Aminu Kano. That was in 1979. We are progressive also in the fact that to date, we are here to represent the future of Nigeria. We are here to be able to bridge the divide. We are here to mentor the young into governance, leadership, and politics for the future. We represent what it takes to be fresh. We represent what it takes to make sure that the ones coming behind us have an opportunity to decide their own destinies in a united Nigeria. For me, as a person, it's very personal. As a party, it's equally personal. Together with my running mate, Haruna Ziko Aziz, we intend to pledge our loyalty to country first and foremost. And everything we'll do is out of that passion to make sure this country becomes what it should be and where it should be. We are appealing, we're here to provide a fresh look at governance, from people who have never been excellencies, who haven't held government only at the state levels, Kaduna and Kano. But at the federal level, we're going there with a clean slate. We don't carry the baggages of any administration or any party. And we want to use that to be able to turn Nigeria around and fight for its people. We are here for the people, and for the people. Thank you.
No clapping. Now is the turn of the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, standing in for the candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, vice presidential candidate, People's Democratic Party.
Thank you. Good evening. My very distinguished guests, my colleagues who are here, I want to thank all of us for coming this evening. In the first instance, I stand for Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP. And I'm very much aware that there was a communication to him and he's outside the country, and we duly obtained the permission of the organizers of this program for him to be represented. It's a town hall meeting, and that permission was duly given. And I think that that solves the problems of the agitation that was going on. When it's time for debates, we get into debates. But this time it's a town hall meeting. It's about informing the people. Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP, was vice president 1999 to 2007. He's a successful businessman, and he is also somebody who runs a very successful academic institution, and he believes in this country. Atiku Abubakar has asked me to represent him, and we have a document, My Covenant with Nigerians, and it's a common document on behalf of himself, myself, and that of the People's Democratic Party. In the first instance, the issues that we talk about is about the issues of a nation. And I think it is serious business. Whether somebody is a president or a vice president, the ticket is one. And we must take note of that. We must also understand that in moving forward in this nation, it's about collective leadership. And I believe that in this nation, that's what we require. Even beyond the president and the vice president, people who work in government and many other persons who are stakeholders in this nation must play very key roles, particularly the private sector, if we're able to get things right. And Nigerians must begin to rethink the way we ought to. Otherwise, we'll continue to get it wrong. There's no doubt about that. We're in a troubled country. A lot of challenges in the insecurity, and we're talking about that today. There are challenges with the economy, we're talking about that today. But for us to be able to progress on this, we also need to talk about the unity of this country and the need to ensure that we stay as a united nation. Until we're able to truly unite ourselves and begin to think together and realize that we must work collectively together, we may not be able to get through the path that will lead us to new growth. We must take very key note of that. We must also realize that until this nation begins to realize that it is not all about the presidency and the federal government, that until the state governments start to be very participatory and play very key roles in the governance of this nation, we share responsibilities where the federal government and the state government and the local governments are able to come together on the table to think Nigeria in ways that work for Nigeria. We may not be able to develop fast as we think we ought to be. We must realize that until we begin to develop the human capital of this nation, either in terms of education, which is very key, or you're talking about the health services sector, or job creation and the improvement in skills of our people and the entrepreneurship of our young, we may not be getting things right. And we cannot really discuss the economy in full or find ways of getting a secured nation without ensuring that all these things come together and that we process it in such a manner that everything works in a united country where everybody is free to make his contribution, and that we need to begin to run an economy that is more of a private sector-led economy, and where government is supposed to provide the enabling environment for the economy to be revived and to thrive. This is very key. We understand that insecurity is quite a lot in this nation. In fact, a lot of people are not even able to move around anymore on the roads. A lot of people are not able to do what they are supposed to do because of the issues that we find in this country. But the truth is, the Atiku government is committed to securing this nation. We are committed to reviving the economy. We are committed to a united, inclusive country. We are committed to the devolution of powers, and we are committed to ensuring that we pay special attention to human capital development. Thank you.
Well, we've all listened to the opening remarks by the candidates. Now, this program is divided into two parts, following the theme for the first in the series of the presidential town hall meetings. Today, we're dealing strictly with security and the economy. And this first segment is about the security. On March 28, I'm asking the first question now. We're going to the next round. There was an incident along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line when a train was attacked, was bombed twice, and at the end of the day, 8 persons lost their lives, many were injured, and over 60 persons were abducted. Since that March 28, the abducted persons were released in batches, causing so much agony for their families, for their friends. There were reports, some had to pay ransom, some had to negotiate, until the first week of September, when the last batch of 23 persons were released. The excuse given by the Buhari administration, please, can we have quiet in the hall? Please, who are those people making noise? So, if you were, the explanation given by the Buhari administration was that the government needed to save lives. The government needed to prevent collateral damage. If you were the commander-in-chief, what would you have done? Would you have handled the situation differently? I'd like to start with the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. Each candidate has 3 minutes. Mr. Peter Obi, you have the floor.
First for me is that I believe that there was a failure of intelligence processing, because before that incident happened, from information available, there were already indications of insecurity within that rail corridor, as well as previous attempts and intelligence that were ignored. So there was a failure of processing and giving due attention to intelligence, which I would have promptly dealt with. 2, when it happened, government action and communication were weak. If I was commander-in-chief, we would have acted swiftly, and throughout that process would have remained in communication and at least showing consistent empathy to the families of those that are involved. We would have done it differently. We would have remained in communication. That shows the overall need showing for us to empathy to the families of those that are involved. The intelligence processing and giving to an immediate response whenever for us to such situation arises. Thank you.
Next, let me invite the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Thank you. Can I stand up?
You may be seated, sir.
Okay.
Okay, if you prefer to stand up.
Thank you very much. Ruben, as former Minister of Defense, I can assure you that the situation wouldn't have been allowed. I am sure you remember that recently we unveiled our blueprint.